Hello, I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. In this, the top news for natural gas. Number one, Hurricane Humberto and Tropical Storm Imelda are dancing off the U.S. southeast coast. Number two, above normal temperatures are expected all the way through October. Number three, both AECO, which is the marker for Canada, and WAHA, West Texas, were in negative territory last week. And number four, the U.S. nuclear outages reached a new 5-year high at this time of year at 10.5 gigawatts. Let's turn to the new spot November contract, currently trading at 3.20 and 2 ticks, down 4 ticks or 0.12%. As you can see here, we are still holding around that 13-day exponential moving average, which comes in at 321.70. And well above that is the 48-period moving average at 339.30. And as you can see, we've been contained within these two moving averages all the way back from June. And right now, the RSI is basically turning flat. So this means we're going sideways, folks. So let's turn to the hourly chart. As you can see here, we did bounce off of the pivot support here at 313.60. We got down as low as 313.30, but now we are through the daily pivot, which came in at 319.20, but we're still not able to rally enough to get over that first resistance here, which comes in at 326.20. So this is why we use that 50% between the two pivots to give us an understanding of where first resistance will be, and that will come in at 322.80. As you can see right here, we've not been able to get above that. So right now the RSI is basically turning flat, and that means we're going sideways, folks. And let's take a look at the front to back spreads. And as you can see here, this is the DEES 26 versus the DEES 25. It is up just 2 ticks here, or just underneath 3%. As you can see, the RSI is trying to turn higher, and we are near all-time highs for this particular spread. So what's going on in the global markets? Well, let's look at the JKM versus the TTF. That's the Asian marker versus the European marker. And that is now negative, which tells us that Europeans are really the premier buyer here for U.S. LNG. And that's going to remain so, as it appears that China has ample supplies and higher domestic production. So Europe is moving along steadily. It is still below last year on its storage levels, but that remains the only driver here right now for U.S. LNG. And let's take a look at the temperature outlook. The 8 to 14-day temperature outlook is warm, really warm for October 6th through the 12th. And as you can see here, it's above normal in the upper Midwest and New England. And let's take a look at the 1-month outlook. This was issued over on September the 18th. And as you can see, it's above normal for basically the 3 corners of the United States: desert Southwest, Florida, and New England. So what's going on in the tropics? Well, we've got 2 storms we talked about. One is Hurricane Humberto, and the other is Tropical Storm Imelda. And as you can see here, they are dancing off the U.S. southeast coast. We're going to keep a careful eye on right here, Hamilton. That's the capital of Bermuda. And let's look at, this is windy.com, and we click on Hurricane Tracker, and let's take a look at where Humberto is going to be going. And it's going to be going to the west of Bermuda and staying well out to sea. But it is going to briefly reach a Category 4 hurricane. Very, very strong. Why? Because the water temperatures are so high. And let's take a look at Imelda. Imelda, which initially was going to be impacting the southeast, possibly going onshore somewhere between South and North Carolina, is now going to get pulled all the way back toward Bermuda. And it's going to pass Bermuda as a Category 1 hurricane. Sorry to say, folks, but it's going to get pretty wet and miserable in Bermuda. But this is what's called the Fujiwara effect, where one storm affects the direction and potential intensity of another storm in close proximity. And as you can see, Humberto is in close proximity to Imelda. And looking at the southeast, we are seeing above normal rainfall precipitation here for the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia, all the way up to north to Virginia here because of Imelda. And as you can see from the tropics, we are keeping a careful eye on the mid-Atlantic from October the 1st through the 7th, But then the focus becomes around the Yucatan here and the Gulf of America / Mexico, all the way down to Honduras and possibly as all in the Mexican Pacific at this stage. But this is ending up to be a fairly quiet season. And why? The Saharan air layer, which continues to push dust across the mid-Atlantic. And as you can see, it is pulling into Humberto and Imelda at this stage. But looks like we're going to lose a little bit of that intensity off the Saharan dust, and that may allow for some late season storms. And looking at the status of U.S. nuclear outages, we did kick up to a new 5-year high on Friday at 10.5 gigawatts. It is really starting to ramp up. Again, this starts to peak around the end of October. And as these nuclear units come out of maintenance, they get ready for winter. And turning to the bigger picture, let's look at the drought, which continues to expand. Not only is it bad in the American desert Southwest, but now it really is starting to affect the eastern portion of the country, especially New England, parts of the Ohio and Mississippi River systems. So we're going to keep a careful eye on this as we transition into La Nina. And we'll get an update on that ENSO phase in about the second week of October. Let's turn to the stocks. This is the oil and gas E&P sector. This is market cap between $2 and $10 billion and has a high short float. And as you can see here, the 1 week performance right now, CRK up 11%. Our loser here, unfortunately, Civitas, again, is the pokey puppy down 1.11%. So again, turning to the spot November contract, we're currently up 9 ticks to trading 321.5 or 0.28%. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.